Welcome to the Winton Woods Warrior Supercast. This is the podcast that will keep you informed about what's going on in the Winton Woods City School District. I'm your host, Dana Gagnon, and I have with me in the studio today Danielle Wallace, who is the principal of Winton Woods Primary South. I have Rhonda Hobbs, who is in charge of, she's the director of technology. And I have Kevin Jones, who is the principal of Winton Woods Primary North.
That's correct. Good afternoon.
Did I say that all right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.
What I want to talk about today is enrollment in the school district, because you are seeing some changes. So let's start with where enrollment has been at the schools in the last 10 years. Who can tell me a little history there?
I can give you some history on that. So in the last 5 years or so, we have seen an increase from 3,520 to our current fall count of 4,049. This has been the first time since 2006 that the district's enrollment has risen above 4,000. So it's really exciting times.
That's fantastic. So that's what we see now. My next question was, where have we been? Okay, well, where are we now? Where we are now is 4,000 students in the district, and we've never been there before. That's exciting. So what are the things that are bringing more students into the district?
I think now in our district we recognize in our local community that Winton Woods has been a best kept secret, so to speak, and so now we are doing a much better job of telling our story. And I think as the community is hearing and participating in our story, they're more excited about sending their students to our schools. And so that's very exciting for myself and my colleague as principals, that we get to meet more faces and include more students in our family, in our individual buildings, and in our whole school community. So it's a very exciting time to be a part of the Winton Woods family.
Sure.
And I think in addition to that, the community is noticing the opportunities available to kids through project-based learning, which we've been now implementing preschool all the way up through 12th grade, for the past 3 years. And it's given, I think, parents the opportunity to see the skills that the kids are developing, the ability to communicate orally and to collaborate with others, and written communication, working on real-world problems. And I think those opportunities are making learning more engaging for students, which I think has also drawn people into our district.
And I would like to, I'm sorry, Rhonda, I also want to add to that, not only with our project-based learning, but also I think the high level of diversity in our schools is very attractive to families that are moving into our community who come from diverse backgrounds. We are known to embrace that diversity and then to also provide ample supports for those families, which encourages them to also seek out other members of their family to join our community.
And you talk about diversity. When we talk about the number of different languages that the students' homes include, it's a very high number. What is? Do you remember the number of that?
31 spoken languages.
31 languages in one school district. That definitely demonstrates there's diversity in your district. Rhonda, what kind of specific things are parents seeing that they can get their kids involved with from a technological standpoint?
Well, we are a one-to-one district in grades 2 through 12, so that means one Chromebook for every student. That also has been a challenge too with the recent spike in enrollment here, is having enough resources for the students, having enough Chromebooks to be able to issue that one-to-one, as well as like software licenses and textbook licenses and things that you don't even think about, where we're prepared, but then at the last minute when there's this large spike in the account, we had to readdress. We had to get more resources for the kids.
Sure, and actually, so that brings to mind that this is exciting to see this enrollment, but there are implications that go along with it, and some of them are technologically based and that you've talked about. What are some of the other ones that you see as principals?
I think on one side, and preschool actually lives at Primary North with Mr. Jones, but it's a huge implication for families of young children. I know that we've added a kindergarten class in the last 2 years, which means we're adding a first grade class, because guess what? After I've been in kindergarten, I get to go to first grade. Well, where am I going to sit? So we need to create space for that. But a lot of my parents express the need to want all of their children in the same district. And our preschool enrollment is tremendous, and there's not always space for all of those students. So our goal has been to increase space so that we can have families stay with us from preschool through 12th grade, where we have to create space and opportunity for that to happen. And so that is a win for us as a leader, but also a challenge in terms of, well, where do we put them as we're waiting for our new buildings to unfold.
And as we're expanding our preschool and wanting to provide that opportunity for more families, and we've seen that as we look for more rooms in the building, that's a challenge. Back in 2006, I noticed we had just over 300 students in the building where I'm currently at, and now we're at about 560 students. So we've added 3 classrooms in the past 5 years that I've been there, and so with that, we've seen a great increase in our students that have come from other places, and like she mentioned, 31 different languages. And so with that, we've had an increased need for our English language learners, and which has been a great thing. It's made our school a culturally rich place to study and a community to be a part of, and I think it's something that's unique about us as well. It's a strength of ours, and it also leads to us needing more supports in those areas as people transition, coming from different parts of the world, and our new English learners.
And as our principals find these new spaces, they're always knocking on the door of technology because they need screens to display information for the kids, and they need additional Wi-Fi location and additional, connectivity in wherever they come up with spaces in these unique places.
And I think it's also important to consider the impact of having a student stay with us long term. And so if we get you in the door in pre-K and K and you have an amazing experience, you're going to not only stay, but you're going to tell your neighbor to come and stay. And so that is a wonderful attribute to our district, but also creates a challenge. We want to make sure that the opportunities we've created for our current students transcend to future generations of students. We don't want a new student to come and, sorry, we don't have that for you because we ran out. We want to say we have a surplus of resources for you because you're a Winton Woods student. These are already afforded to you.
And it's a great problem to have, that
Absolutely.
they like what they see so much, they tell their friends, and their friends want their
Absolutely.
kids to have the same opportunities.
Absolutely.
Of course, that also adds to the challenge of making sure that you can continue to offer the same number of opportunities. It really sounds like, though, that you're focusing that on the individual students.
Yes.
And can we keep them not having to move around, and can we keep them in the same district with their siblings and one whole family together and things like that, which is very, very focused on the particular family and the particular students, which is great to see.
Yes.
And I think some of the things that we're known for also with our music program, fine arts program, and being awarded by the NAM Foundation, one of the destination's best communities for music. All of that comes with beginning music education in preschool. We have our all-day preschoolers that are getting music class each week, and I think it's something our communities told us that they want. And as a response to that is also another resource that, as we continue to increase enrollment, it's nice to see our young learners having that opportunity to not only have class each week, but the extracurricular opportunities. For instance, we start choir in 2nd grade. And so we have a choir program that starts as before school in the mornings, and they have a chance to perform and to learn some of those performance skills as well. So it's great and exciting to see all the kids coming in and families that want to take part in that.
Yeah, a true testament to our musical program filtering all the way down. Our choir last year, we averaged around 40 students at Primary South, and we had 2nd grade and select 1st grade students. This school year already, we have over 55 students that have committed to participating. So much so that we're trying to figure out where are some larger venues where we can perform because they're so excited about the opportunity.
And I will say, if anybody has any doubt about the music program at Waycross, we film all of the levels, from cute little kids singing in choir all the way up to the amazing productions that the high schoolers put on. And anyone who has any doubt about that should click back through Waycross programs, because it's amazing what they get to be a part of and be a student and say, I did that. I was part of that.
That's right.
Which is really neat for them to see.
Yes.
And all of these services that we talked about, getting to do music and having access to technology, but there's also special needs some of the kids need help with too. And does the increased enrollment affect that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that part of the research talks about how many students are appropriate to be in a classroom and how do you support those needs. And so as you increase enrollment, you have to be even more aware of who's in the room and who needs supports, and then how do you create opportunities to get them the supports they need. without penalizing them for maybe having a different learning style. And so with more kids comes more opportunity for resources on the enrichment side, but also on the remediation side. And then what does that look like when you have students that have special needs? I have the multi-handicapped students in my building, and so we've also seen an increased enrollment in their spaces. We have students now that have to be wheelchair bound all the time. Well, then that means we need to have additional support in the classroom because they have opportunities to have access to the general ed curriculum, even though they may be wheelchair bound. And so what does that look like in that space? And then what other technological resources will they need to help them to have access to the curriculum?
And we know the importance of early childhood opportunities, learning opportunities, and language acquisition, and those things that happen from birth. And our district is committed to, we want to expand those opportunities for families. And I know as we expand, we've seen there's a great need in families that are wanting to take advantage of our 5-star preschool program. We currently have over 100 people on the waiting list, and really are looking to have that space to create more opportunities for students to have them be even more prepared when they come in to the primary grades.
Yes, and we've seen that our students that do participate in our Winton Woods preschool program, they outscore those students from other preschool programs on the KRA, which is a huge win for us. So we know we're getting it right. We just want to create more seats at the table so we get more students in our preschool to continue that trend.
And you get to see that because when you get the kids in kindergarten, you get some from your preschool, and then of course kids from all different places, so you really get a control to kind of see what that looks like.
Exactly.
How does this increased enrollment affect transportation?
Obviously, we're loading more children into the buses, and at some point the bus routing needs to, accommodate the more bodies that are being traveled to school.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we still want it to be efficient so that we can still start and stop on time, which means that we may have to add additional stops, but the stops need to be close enough together so that the buses can gather them in an efficient time. We don't ever want our students to be at the bus stop too early. I mean, we are a small, centralized community, but we recognize that if you have additional stops, it may take a little longer to get them to the schoolhouse and back home.
Yeah, and they're little kids.
Yes.
They can only be on that bus so long.
Yes,
and still be able to focus when they get to school.
Yes.
When we talk about increased enrollment and we're looking a lot at what the classroom and the kids will need, there's also some kind of unexpected things going on administratively that involves also communicating with parents and office work. What are some of the things that you see that relate to that?
So I pride myself, and I know Mrs. Jones does as well, is getting to know each individual student and their family, which is a task in itself, but it's important. I'm a parent, he's a parent, Mrs. Hobbs is a parent. I want my child to feel like she's a part of a community and not a number in a building. And so the more students I have in the building, the more proactive I have to be in making those connections sooner, especially with kindergarten families. They want to know right away that my child is seen as an individual and number one on your priority list. But if you've increased the number of students in the building, which we both have, then I have to be overzealous about getting out in the parking lot and greeting new families and remembering their names and making connections of what are their extracurriculars and how can I be a part of that, because that also helps parents to feel like I've made the right decision. I tell my staff all the time, parents are choosing us. They don't have to come to Winton Woods because they live in Forest Park. So don't ever forget that. You have to make a commitment every day to make them feel like they are just as amazing as their parents feel, because it's true, they really are. They have chosen to be a part of our community, and we appreciate that.
So communicating with their parents is just as important.
Yes.
Because it's the entire family that needs to be connected. But of course that means this many more families
to be connected,
to stay in touch with, and
and also keeping
forms
in mind
too, and
when you're creating opportunities for them to engage in your school building. Both of our buildings have amazing evening parent engagement opportunities. I need space for all of the parents to feel like they can come, that it's not, well, sorry, we can only do primary prom for second grade because we're overflowing with students. No, everybody needs to be a part of it. So what does that look like?
And I, just thinking about this, and more administrative forms and more attendance records.
Absolutely.
Also made me think more paper towels getting used in the bathrooms, more crayons needed in the classroom. There's just some very physical, non-technical supplies that will also get used up a little bit faster.
Yes.
When we're talking about 4,000 students.
Absolutely.
And you also look at the number of students that are accessing the school nurse, and some of the services that we have.
Yes.
Occupational therapy to speech therapists.
Yeah.
There's
Physical therapy.
a great need for that, and so with increased enrollment, you're seeing an increase in resources and so forth, and in services as well. So,
And what about Title I? How does that affect that?
Oh, absolutely. So Title I provides intervention for our students in reading, specifically in reading, and then as they increase in grade levels, we incorporate Title I math in our other buildings. But knowing that reading is the foundation for everything else, the earlier that we can catch those students that need that support, we can get them into Title I, but Title I can only hold so many children at a time. And so what does that look like, and how do you prioritize? Or tell a parent that we'll get to your child. That's not a appropriate response when my child is struggling. So the more students, the more the need, the more that we have to be creative in how we meet the needs of those students.
So we really got to look at a lot of the details that we might not think about. But the bottom line is, this is really exciting because more people than ever before have chosen the Winton Woods City School District to educate their kids.
Yes.
And to be part of their families. And when you have kids, and you're all parents, when you have kids, almost nothing becomes more part of your family than your schooling.
that's right.
That's right.
And everyone that's involved with that schooling, you really do become part of their family experience.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else that you would like to talk about related to this neat increase in enrollment?
Well, with the increased enrollment, it's increased opportunities for us to serve more families and to have a greater impact, also to include more people into our community. And we look at that as exciting and something that we enjoy doing. And so it's been a pleasure to do that, and we're excited to see where we're going to go from here as we build the new buildings and as we prepare to even I imagine increase the attendance even more. So
I just believe our increased enrollment is really a testament to our district becoming a district of destination where the families are choosing to come, especially with like the news of becoming a part of the League of Innovative Schools. So the awards that the district's beginning to actually obtain and win, I think it's just a testament that the families are coming.
To be able to see that there's recognition that comes with the improvements over the years, that a lot of family has seen it because they've just been part of the school district seeing it happen.
Correct.
But now even from the outside, you can take a look and check off, League
What's
of Innovative
going on
Schools.
there?
We've got some, they saw
Right.
something there. We need to check them out. So
Absolutely.
that's really important to note. Well, I want to thank you, all three of you, so much for coming in today. I really appreciate your insight into the effects of having an increased enrollment, but also the opportunities that come with the increased enrollment.
Yes. Thank you for having us.
thank you.
Thank you.
Now, if you are one of those families of those 4,000 students and you need to stay in touch with the Winton Woods City School District, I encourage you to make sure you take a look at the website, wintonwoods.org, and you will find all the latest of what's going on in the district. Also, mark your calendars for Family University. That's on November 6th. That's for parents with pre-K through 6th graders. You will get, it's a mini conference, and you will get to attend sessions on math resources or bullying or school safety or reading resources and all kinds of things like that. So make sure you go to wintonwoods.org, find out more about that, and thank you so much for joining us on the Warrior Supercast.